My Lords, I have added my name to this amendment, and I want to start by thanking the campaigner Julia Cooper, who Lady Hayman quoted earlier, for her extraordinary diligence and campaign and her 30,000 signature petition to Parliament, and also the excellent Pregnant Then Screwed and Stella Creasy MP for their briefings. Lady Hayman has spoken eloquently on the need to add the offence of voyeurism of those breastfeeding. I want to echo her comments on the critical need to encourage mothers to breastfeed for as long as possible, hopefully for a minimum of 6 months. The truly long-term health benefits to babies are well evidenced, not least in the immune protection they are extra immune protection they are given lasting for years. It's good that Clause 13.6 of the Equality Act currently protects breastfeeding women by saying that any business that displays less favourable treatment or denies a woman access to goods or services because she is breastfeeding can be in breach of the Act. And this has been tested in the courts under the employment discrimination in McFarlane and Another versus EasyJet Airline Company Limited, where the employer did not provide reasonable adjustments for new mothers who return to work while still breastfeeding. However, there is no protection in itself of the act of breastfeeding, so it cannot be used to require the police or the courts to act to tackle the practice of taking photos or videos without consent. I was pleased to be a member of the Liberal Democrat team supporting the Voyeurism Offences Act 2019, which created the criminal offence of upskirting. Offenders now face up to 2 years in jail and being placed on the sex offenders register for taking a picture under a person's clothing without them knowing, with the intention of viewing their genitals or buttocks. This law banned the degrading practice with the intention of deterring perpetrators, better protecting victims, and bringing more offenders to justice. As the law specifies the location of the body where the act applies to being below the waist, this legislation does not protect those who breastfeed from a similar intrusion. And I remind your Lordship's House that we did not need to wait for a law commission to decide whether that act should go through. Julia Cooper's experience, outlined earlier by Lady Hayman, is chilling. The 30,000 people who have signed her petition and the evidence taken from Pregnant Then Screwed shows that this is not an isolated incident. And polling by YouGov in May this year shows that 75% of the public think that breastfeeding voyeurism should be banned. One new mother told Pregnant Then Screwed, "Just a few weeks ago, my first time out with my newborn, feeding on a park bench, and a man walks past, gets a camera out, and pretending to take a photo of something behind as he walks by, camera tilts down on me. Caught me off guard, so didn't say at the time, but am now far more conscious of who is looking and would call them out. But we shouldn't have to think like this." So why should we not follow Victoria Atkins MP recommendation, the government proposal that the ongoing Law Commission review on taking, making and sharing intimate images without consent is the correct vehicle for legislation? This review is currently expected to report in spring 2022 and may make recommendations to expand the list of protections under voyeurism legislation, but this isn't even guaranteed. This simple amendment echoes the upskirting legislation by seeking to amend the Sexual Offences Act 2003. It also uses the language of the 2019 Act, and it would require consent to photograph or record breastfeeding without prosecution, ensuring that women breastfeeding are given the same protection. If passed as part of this bill, it would give protection to women who breastfeed quickly, in legislative terms, without compromising the Law Commission review, which would have time to consider this change if necessary in more depth. It's important to say that it has the support of the National Childbirth Trust, the La Lèche League and the National Breastfeeding Network. To those of us in favour of this amendment, we're pleased that the government thinks that it is unacceptable for breastfeeding voyeurism to take place, and I thank the Minister for that. But can the Minister say why, if the government supports the principle of the amendment, it would be acceptable to delay its implementation for years, which would be the result of going the Law Commission route? And why not use the route of the upskirting legislation, which didn't have to wait for the Law Commission? But I do hope that the Minister will be able to support the amendment.
Great alacrity.